born February 18, 1936, Terence Richard Dick Duff was a hockey prodigy on the rinks in his hometown of Kirkland Lake, Ontario. By the age of 16, Duff took advantage of interest in his hockey prowess to advance his education, moving to Toronto to attend St. Michael's College. In 1953-54, his second year with St. Mike's, Dick led the majors in scoring with 35 goals and 75 points, adding 120 penalty minutes. During his third and final year of junior with St. Mike's Majors, Dick led the team in scoring once again with 53 points, but also made his NHL debut, joining the Toronto Maple Leafs on March 10, 1955 for the first of 3 games with the parent club. Later that season, the Majors beat the Regina Pats to collect the Memorial Cup for 1955. Dick led the Majors in scoring that season. In 1955-56, the 19-year-old Duff landed a full-time spot with the Toronto Maple Leafs, appearing in 69 games, scoring 18 goals and collecting 37 points with 74 minutes in penalties. Dick was one of the central figures as the Maple Leafs rebuilt the team through the late 50s, enjoying 3 consecutive seasons with 25 or more goals for Toronto between 1956-57 and 1959-60. The foundation of the franchise was built largely from players culled from the Leafs' 2 Ontario junior squads, the Toronto Marlboros and the St. Michael's Majors. Duff played a pivotal role in the Stanley Cup Championship won by the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1962, playing alongside fellow honored members George Armstrong, Johnny Bower, Tim Horton, Red Kelly, David Keehan, Frank Mahavlich, Bert Olmsted, Bob Pulford and Alan Stanley. Although he missed more than a quarter of the regular season suffering from a broken ankle, Dick scored the Stanley Cup winning goal on April 22, 1962, as Toronto edged Chicago 2-1 to win their first Stanley Cup since Bill Barilko and his teammates celebrated in 1951. The Maple Leafs repeated their Stanley Cup celebration in 1963, with Dickie Duff setting an NHL record by scoring 2 goals in the first 108 of Game 1 of the final on April 9, 1963. The Leafs beat the Red Wings 4-2 in that contest. Duff was traded to the New York Rangers in a blockbuster deal on February 22, 1964 that saw Dick, Arnie Brown, Bill Collins, Bob Nevin and Rod Sealing move to Broadway, with Andy Bathgate and Don McKinney joining the Leafs. On December 22, 1964, Duff was traded to the Montreal Canadiens for Billy Hick. Having the chance to play for the Canadiens revitalized Duff's spirit and his play. With the Canadiens, Dick was part of 4 more Stanley Cup championships, winning Hockey's Most Treasured Prize in 1965, 1966, 1968 and 1969. Duff was sold to the Los Angeles Kings in January 1970, and by December that year, was sent with Eddie Shack to the expansion Buffalo Sabres in exchange for Mike McMahon. There, both Duff and Shack joined their old Leaf coach, Punch Imlach. The stop in Buffalo was brief, and Dick decided to hang up the Blades for good 8 games into the 1971-72 season. Through his productive career, Dick Duff collected 572 points, 283 goals and 289 assists, in 1,030 regular season NHL games. Through 114 playoff contests, Dick scored 30 goals and 49 assists. He played in 7 NHL All-Star games, as well, 1956, 1957, 1958, 1962, 1963, 1965 and 1967. Dick Duff returned to the Toronto Maple Leaf organization in 1979-80 season, and before his retirement, served as a scout, an assistant coach and in 1980-81, was one of 3 men to coach the Toronto Maple Leafs.